The New Orleans Saints have made some interesting moves since we last spoke to one another, but what do they mean as they get under the salary cap and prepare to free up money to sign a few free agents, maybe as early as next week? Is one of the most cherished Saints in team history and Cam Jordan going elsewhere? What about Alvin Kamara? He just redid his contract. He's just as cherished. Does that mean he's staying? Do all these things equal Demario Davis returning? Is that rusty old can picking up more dents in it once again as it eases itself down the road? It's time to get out your calculator as we talk lots of numbers and lots of what ifs with our Friday regular Zach Ewing of the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com. We'll also talk a little Pelicans and a little LSU baseball, as I'm sure my little pain in the ass brothers from the West want to give me some grief about a meaningless midweek game they think is the College World Series. You ready to start the Dattitude podcast? Well, good, because it's up next.
Ready to hear the straight scoop on local and national sports? It's time for Jim Derry's take on the Saints, LSU, what betting lines to ponder, and more. He's got opinions, he's got insight, and he's got Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Are you ready for a show with a host who's had about 9 hours of sleep the past 3 nights? Stuffy and sleepy very well could equal cranky, but it's all fun and games here on Dattitude, episode number 480, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Friday, March the 6th, 2026. In case you're new here, well, welcome, first of all. Secondly, I'm your host, Jim Derry, 35 and a half years on the New Orleans sports media scene, and I thank you so much for spending part of your day with us, and welcome to the Dat family. Oh, my goodness. I don't wish this past week that I've had on anyone. It has been, I mean, yesterday, it was just telling Gabe off the screen. I think, yesterday was miserable. I was absolutely, incredibly, and utterly miserable, but we made it. I told Zach yesterday, I don't know if we're going to have a show or not. I think we will. We ended up being able, I think I've turned the corner. So we'll see. I just told Gabe that I sound worse than I feel. I feel much better today than I've felt. In fact, today's probably the best I've felt since since Saturday night. So we'll see. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll see what today's show is going to be all about. You know what it's going to be all about. Cam Jordan is going to be, well, he is a free agent. He is going to become, well, I guess officially will become a free agent when the new year starts on Monday. But the Saints, it's been reported by several outlets that he has not come to a deal with the New Orleans Saints. Does that mean he is gone? What does it mean? We'll ask Zach Ewing coming up in just a little bit. He is the Saints editor for NOLA.com. He's also assistant sports editor, and you know that because he's here every Friday. So maybe I'm not batting. My batting average isn't real good right now. Just, we tell it like it is here. When I'm good, I'm good. And when I'm wrong, I tell you I'm wrong. And so far, I don't know, man. I thought Cam Jordan was the most likely one to come back of the 4 that we've been talking about. And when we talk about the 4, we talk about Cameron Jordan, we talk about Demario Davis, talk about Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. And I thought if you asked me the likelihood of them returning, I had Cam Jordan clearly was number 1. I thought maybe there was a tie between Demario Davis and Alvin Kamara. Both had him about 50-50. And then I had Taysom Hill. I got him at like 10%, if that. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But, it looks like I think you have to think that Alvin Kamara is going to come back now after he redid his contract. We'll get into all that with Zach. And as we go along, I'm gonna say this again later. And I'll get to the comments soon. And that's what's special about our show. You talk to us, we talk back. If you want to comment on the show, all you have to do is type them in, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're watching on Facebook, and we will show your comment and we will talk back if you got a question or you got a comment. But when you hear the word, and you're going to hear it a lot over the course of the next week or so as these moves keep being made, okay? I want it to be clear. And I know some of my fanboy podcast friends hate when I say this kind of stuff, and not just fanboys podcast, the fanboys themselves. People hate when I say this. Be careful when you hear the word savings, okay? The word savings. It's not. What that means is savings this year, okay? There really are no such things as savings, okay? What it means whenever it's announced as savings, it basically means you pull out your dead cap credit card, okay, and you stick it in the machine and you tell it how much you want to save. Because when this is how football works, folks. Whenever you take money from somewhere, you got to get it from somewhere else, okay? And I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I want it to be clear. I'm not always against, quote unquote, kicking the can, okay? The Saints have a ton of money going forward. I'm okay with some of the things they've done so far. They're fine, okay? I'm going to get into the exact numbers and what they all mean in just a little bit. So don't get me wrong when I say that, we don't want to push it. Yeah, you have to sometimes. You have to get compliant. Now the Saints are not just compliant, they're actually under the cap now. And they're going to get more under the cap because they have to sign. Well, we know. We've talked about this. There's no question still that the number one priority for this team is going out and signing whoever they deem to be the best free agent guard in this free agent class. We're not going to talk a whole lot about guard today. We've been talked about a lot. We're not going to talk about Jeremiah Love a lot today. We're going to talk about some new things. Okay. Does this mean, my son texted me yesterday and, sometimes he can be Captain Obvious. Sometimes I don't know where he gets this stuff from, but he has a point. I don't agree with him, but I know a lot of people think that because of what's happening with Cam Jordan now, that this means that the Saints are much more likely to draft a defensive player with the 8th pick of the draft. I don't necessarily think that. In fact, let's take necessarily out of there. I don't think that. Okay. I don't think this changes anything. However, I understand the thinking there. But when you go and look at what Cam Jordan has done and what he's meant to this team, yeah, he was great last year. I don't think it changes anything. I still think when you look at what the Saints' priorities are, and again, we're not talking about Jeremiah Love today, but what are the Saints? What's the Saints' number one priority besides offensive line? I mean, it's still a guard. Left guard, if you want to say right guard, they're not going to address right guard. Cesar Ruiz is still going to be your right guard. But what are your priorities as you go down the line? I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever when you talk about priorities that after guard, the number one priority for this team is still running back. And whether you address that in free agency, Alvin Kamara looks like he's coming back. Again, he's redone his contract. We're going to get into exactly what the contract is. Could he still be cut? Sure, but it's very unlikely now. Okay, when you redo your number, that pretty much means you're coming back. Okay, he'll have dead cap space down the road, which I'm not all that worried about because it's not that much. But it's still in a free agent. It actually frees up money in the now. So you're going to eat if you cut him after June 1. You're still going to eat the money. They bring him back. Great. Okay, fine. But you still need an RB1. You can say whatever you want, and I know there are people out there that disagree with me, but it doesn't change my opinion on what the Saints' number 2 priority is, and it doesn't change my opinion on what's up with Alvin Kamara. Can he be effective as a part-time running back, kind of like Cam Jordan was? I mean, think about that. If you use Alvin Kamara in a similar role that you used Cameron Jordan in last year, which was towards the end of the season, him playing, I don't know, I think they said when Chase Young came back from injury, after Chase Young returned, he only played like 46% of the snaps. I think that's probably what you're going to see. If you can do that for an Alvin Kamara, then I think he can be effective. Can he be Alvin Kamara? No, he's never going to be that again. I don't care what anybody says, but he can be better than he was last year. And that would be something. Still, even if Alvin Kamara is half of what he once was and plays half of the snaps, that's not RB1. Okay, you don't have one. What about Devin Neal? What about Devin Neal? A 6th-round pick is not suddenly going to become an RB1. Can he be a contributor to this team? Absolutely. Your number one need on this team after guard is still running back. I mean, wide receiver is up there too. And I put wide receiver over edge rusher still. And one of the things, again, later on I'm going to talk about with Zach, one of the things we're going to talk about is that there there are tons of edge rushers in this draft. This is if you look at the top, and in fact, I wrote it down here. In the top, what is it? I put it in green. So the top 66 on PFF. PFF's big board. Of the top 66, 13 of them are edge rushers. What that means is you don't need to draft an edge rusher at 8. You could still get one later. And this is also a pretty deep free agent group that we're going to talk about later. So there are a lot more options for the Saints if you want to get another edge rusher in here, and which you can. And nobody ever talks about Granderson, by the way. Why don't they talk about Carl Granderson? He's great. Are you lacking depth there? Sure. If Cam Jordan doesn't come back, you're absolutely lacking depth there, but it's still not one of your top priorities. And when you're talking about, you know who drafts best player available? Teams who are good. Good teams draft best player available. This team cannot afford to just go in there and draft best player available. Are there exceptions? Sure. We talked about him the other day. We'll probably talk about him again here today. But this team has to have a RB1 or they're not going to be any good next year. I'm telling you right now. Just like a team needs a quarterback, of course. Quarterback is the number one player on the team. Next is left tackle, probably. RB1 is way up there. If you don't have an RB1, you can't be the team you want to be. You just can't be. So we'll see, especially with Kellen Moore. We're going to talk about that, obviously, today. But remember, when I say it, I'll say, and in case you just joined us, be careful when you hear the word savings. Savings is another word for dead cap credit card. That's what I'm going to call it, the DC credit card. All right, other things I want to talk to about, and I want to get to the comments. Zach's probably going to come on around 11:30. As I said before, if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to our podcast. We would love to have you as a subscriber on our YouTube page. If you would love to help this independent sports journalist turn show host, you could become a member. You could support us by becoming a member. You get membership into our Slack channel, our free. Well, it's not free, obviously. If you become a member, you got to pay for it. But you get entry into our Slack membership, and you'll get some other stuff coming up later on that I'm still working on. I planned on working on it this week, but I ended up spending the week in bed. If you want to talk to me, if you're watching after the show or if you listen to the podcast, any major podcast platform, you can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr. Email me, jim@jimderry.com. You know how to get in touch with me, as so many people have this week, talking about all sorts of things. If you're a member, you can also get in touch with me on the Slack channel. And Gabe's in there all the time. Gabe is monitoring that thing like nobody's business. So if I don't get to you right away, Gabe certainly will. He's in the green room, as always, helping behind the scenes. He'll be on the show later on this morning. All right, let's get started. Before I get to the comments, and I want to talk a little bit about the Pels before we really get rolling here this morning. We're going to talk about LSU baseball a little bit, probably with Zach. Is it the end of the world? Are there ooh la la fans in the comments? I can't wait to look at them, wanting to give me a little bit of the business about a midweek game that, man, I tell you, if you watch that game, the end of that game, those ooh la la fans with Louisiana on their chest, they were so proud that they beat LSU in a meaningless midweek game. We'll see you in Omaha. Oh, wait, we probably won't. Anyway. You know who we might see in Omaha? Who knows? Maybe we'll see our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they are a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, it's someone you know, someone you love, someone you want to help. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Brayton. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you will be well-informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed with maybe the biggest move of your entire life. What happens after that? We'll fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. You can also check out my friend, Joe DiStefano.
If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, Health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all, and with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most.
All right, on with the show, everybody. As we get to the comments, Gabe is telling me that the Philadelphia Eagles media is reporting that New England offered a first and a third for A.J. Brown. Howie Roseman politely said no. Also, breaking news this morning. It's not really breaking news. It's really not that big of a deal. But the Raiders are apparently set to release Geno Smith. Shocker. The Raiders are an absolute mess. And I mean mess, I'll tell you. How are we going to start the show? Well, let's start it with a super chat. Thank you so much, Mitch Bergeron, for donating to the show and supporting our independent journalism, or whatever you want to call it. I still consider myself a journalist. I mean, I've been a journalist for 35 years, so why would I not be one now, right? I will tell you this. And Mitch, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. We thank you so much for donating and supporting the channel. One thing that has been fantastic about there are always good when you get laid off from a company that you work for 35 years on and off, obviously, because that was the fourth time I've been laid off. But one of the good things is you get to do things that you haven't done in a while. And I've been able to freelance. Now, not this week. Again, I've been in bed, but I've gone back to my roots. I've been able to cover a lot of news stories. I've been covering the St. Tammany Parish School Board, and I've been covering some local city council meetings. I've been covering basketball games, and I've been able to write again. And it's something that I haven't been able to do in a long time. And I'm dead serious when I tell you this, when I'm freelancing. I am super excited about being able to do that again. It has been a lot of fun. And so it's not the end of the world. UBN with the donation, $20 super chat. Wants me to go get some more tussin. Put some tussin. Let me tell you, man. I got to give him a shout out because I've been Mucinex-ing it up. Mucinex is like a wonder drug. I don't know where I would be without Advil and Mucinex. There's my free plug. Fantastic. It helps immensely. Who else is here this morning? Rocky is here. Cam remains. Demario Davis gone, and believe it or not, he thinks Alvin Kamara gets a team-friendly deal and plays in spots. Rocky, I don't know if you've been paying attention. It's not necessarily a done deal that Cam's gone, but AK's deal is done. They've already restructured him, in case you didn't see it this morning. What did I do with it? Here it is. Hold on, Rock. What did they do with Alvin Kamara? He restructured his deal. His cap now goes from $18.6 million to $10.5. He is going out. This is his last year as a Saint. I mean, I would think it's his last year, period, but I don't know that for sure. So anyway, if you didn't see that this morning, Alvin Kamara has restructured his deal, which again likely means he's staying. We'll talk about it with Zach. His dead cap hits going forward, not that bad, honestly. Saints did a really good job with this. Y'all know what I think about kicking the can when you talk about savings, but these are not bad numbers at all. Dead cap hits now 2027, $7.1 million. So he'll be gone, and the Saints will still have to hold to the cap, $7.1 million. 5.1 and 28, 20 and 29 and 30, right? Just above $2 million each year. That's nothing in today's, especially when you're talking about the cap that keeps going up. So in the grand scheme of things, Rock, that's not bad numbers. You know what I mean? Charles Mangus, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, go Pels. We are going to talk Pels a little bit this morning. Thank you so much, Charles, for supporting the channel. We very much appreciate it. Not just the people who donate. We love you, and thank you so much for supporting us. But to everyone out there, especially the members. You know what? Let's put the members up there. Again, I'll show the members. These are all of our members. As of right now, if you'd like to become a member, just click the join button on YouTube. What else we got here? Also from Charles, good morning. They restructure AK Young, and I'm not sure who is going. I don't think they'll cut AK. No, they're not going to cut I mean, I would be shocked if they cut him now. You don't you can restructure his deal and still cut him, but they wouldn't get anything out of cutting him. So I doubt seriously they're cutting him. Good morning, Jerry. Welcome. What else we got here as I go down? Logan Graffia, good morning. Do I think a backfield of both Travis Etienne and Jeremiah Love is realistic, or are you just dreaming? You are just dreaming, my friend. I think almost no chance at that. I think that everything I read tells me Travis Etienne's going to the Chiefs. However, they don't have a lot of money. They're in pretty bad cap shape. In fact, where are they right now, according to Spot Track? Oh, they've gotten better. Where are they? Oh, yeah, they got way better. They made a lot of moves. Okay, I take it back. They're better than the Saints. They're $22 million under at the moment. They did some really good moves. So anyway, I think that's where Travis Etienne's going. Just my opinion. We'll see. Who dat, Lance? Good morning. What else we got here? Sav, good morning. Cam should go to Denver on a 1-year deal. Best chance of the ring. He knows most of the staff over there. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Lance, our newest member. Thank you so much, Lance. That means I can't say the DC word today. I mean, if you're going to become a member, I mean, I got to give you some love, right? Not Jeremiah love. Now we can't talk about you-know-who. Thank you, Lance, so much. We appreciate it. I don't know about Cam going to Denver. Maybe. But you figure if he's going to leave, he's going to want to go somewhere where we can get a ring. Can he get a ring at Denver? Maybe. I don't know. Lance says Denver's got a stacked D-line. Doesn't see him going there. Maybe DeMario. I don't know. That's a tough one. We'll see. A couple others real quick because I got it. Zach's in the green room. Got to get moving. Good morning, Adam. Earl's Picks, good morning. There will be good edge guys even on day 2. There's no question. This is a deep class of edge rushers. And not only is it a deep class of edge rushers, as we told you, I'm going to talk about it with Zach in just a minute. It's also deep in the free agent market as well. William Hester says DeMario is next. Love you guys, but take care. I agree with you, William. I think DeMario is next as well. I don't see him sticking around. Maybe I'm wrong. Mark Gapsey, good morning. Who dat, baby? William Hester, absolutely not. Sonny Styles is going to look real nice at number 8. I mean, first of all, Sonny Styles is jumping up the draft board. Tell you. Nothing has changed with my opinions. If the Saints draft defense with number 8, you're going to want to come see the live show. That's all I'm going to say. Hakeem, big dog. Mark Gafsky, hope I feel better. Thank you. As I said before, I sound a lot worse than I feel. I think I turned the corner. Yesterday was miserable. Yesterday was the worst day. This is going on since Saturday. It came on about midday Saturday, and I know where I got it. I got it from covering a game. And every day I'm like, okay, the next day I'm going to turn the corner. No, I've been in bed literally all week long. When I wasn't doing a show, excuse me, sorry, I didn't mean to do that without pressing the button. I've been in bed, but I'm much better today, I promise. Jerry says he's glad he bought an Alvin Kamara jersey last month. I bet. It's pretty good. Adam says what I've been saying. He's going to say it loud for the deaf ones. No drafting defense in the first round. Mitch also says, pardon me 1 second. Overclimped. Kamara, Cam, and Davis have all been great Saints, but there's always a peak before the fall. Is always a challenge for every team to determine. There's no question that the Saints are going through all that right now. All right. Time to move on. And I guess I'll have to save Pels, or maybe I'll throw Zach a curveball and just bring it up with him later. I'm planning to talk about it before he came on, but didn't get to it. Sorry about that, Gabe. There we go. Everybody's on this morning.
Listen, wait. Well, Gabe's on. Let's talk about Monica Seles a little bit.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, man. How do you not know who Monica Seles is?
I just don't. I don't know tennis.
This is like saying, well, I don't know who Joe Montana is, but it's okay because I don't know football. Like, you still know who Joe Montana is. Monica Seles is like a goat. What are we doing?
I said that, and I'm not even a huge tennis fan. I used to be back in probably my teen years and into my 20s, and haven't watched it nearly as much lately. But to not know Monica Seles, Gabe, that's pretty bad.
I've never. And it's not that I don't know. I've never heard the name in my life.
It's like me not knowing Ronaldo.
I gotta get you a little education. Tennis is a great sport.
Okay, well here's the difference in that, Jim. Ronaldo probably has 1,000 times the social media following. So,
well, that's not a Monica Seles played in the 80s and 90s. There wasn't.
No, I know, but he said it's like not knowing him. It's much easier to see people.
All right, it's like not knowing Pele.
There you go. That's a good one.
Okay,
Maradona maybe. Pele's more like not knowing Arthur Ashe maybe, or I don't know who, or Martina.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't mean to start on tennis, but I saw Gabe and I was like,
"That's okay."
I'm just
it was worth mentioning.
Sport that I completely avoid, so it's a blind spot for me.
It's your soccer. It's my whatever. You know what I mean? So you feel about tennis the way I feel about soccer. All right, we'll see you later. All right, Zach Ewing. Good morning. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good. Enjoying the weather.
Sucks.
Too hot. I teed you up on the weather. And getting ready for free agency on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be interesting for sure as we crawl into the Saints here. Chris Crump says, great show. All three of you get on there fussing about your personal opinion about how many games you think we're looking at winning this year. I'll let you start with that one, Zach.
I think it's way too early to even hazard a guess. I mean, with the roster as currently constructed, I wouldn't say more than like 7 wins. But if the Saints go and get, a couple top shelf free agents and do well in the draft, and I could be convinced to move that number up a couple.
Lance is screaming 10 again. He also says, "What's up, Zach? Do Dunk's shorts ever make you uncomfortable?" He gets nervous and flashback to that episode of Friends.
Okay, here's the thing about Jeff Duncan, and you know this, Jim. If you start teasing Jeff about something like wearing shorts, he's just going to do it more. It's like it's now his thing, and now he thinks it's funny. And the other thing I'll say is the way our Saints Insider studio is set up, we're on a stage, we're elevated about 4 feet off the ground, and our cameras are on the ground. And so even though they're on tripods, there's a little bit of an upward angle, and that, I think that makes it worse than it actually looks in real life. Like he's just wearing shorts, right? But because you're kind of looking, the first thing you see is his legs, and then you go, and you're like, early on we tried to say something to him about it, and like, Jeff, will you wear pants but he did for a little while, and then it's kind of become one of those things, man. We have people who comment on his legs, and he's
it's one thing for me to wear shorts on the show because you can only see me from the chest up. But on the Saints Insiders podcast, when you watch it, it's from, get all 4 of you guys in the wide shot. And yeah. So anyway.
It's a little uncomfortable, but I think that's how
it is a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. I just try to like zoom in or just listen to it in somebody's face. Let's get to some talk this morning. We got a couple comments I'm going to get to in just a minute, but the Saints are now under the cap. They're still freeing up space. They're now moved up from, I think they were 24th in cap space ranking wise to 17th now, according to Spot Track. These are like numbers. These are fluctuating numbers. They're going to move as we go along here throughout the next week or two, but for sure. But they're now, according to Spot Track, somewhere in the neighborhood of 19.6 million under. Some people say 20 million. Some people say 21 million. Anyway, they're right around $20 million under the cap. I'm going to say this, okay? Again, before I'm going to put the caveat out there that I don't necessarily disagree with what they had to do, whatever they had to do. They have to get under the cap. They have to have some room to do some of the things they need to do. But just be careful, because whenever I hate the word in a story, in a show, and whatever, when we're talking the word savings, okay? It's not real. It's savings for this year, but it's like taking out your dead cap credit card and plugging it into a machine. You're going to have to pay it later. So when you say savings, that'd be like borrowing money to say, I'm going to take money out of a credit card and put it in. Again, I don't disagree with anything the Saints have done so far. I want to make that clear. But just be careful as you go along and keep making these moves. because at some point, I think what they did with Kamara's contract is great, by the way. And some of these, I thought Justin Reed's was pretty good as well. But just be careful when you use the word savings.
Here's the only problem with your analogy. You're talking about it like it's a credit card and that you're going to have to pay later. And with credit cards, not only do you have to pay later, but you have to pay interest. In this case, there's no interest, and the salary cap in future years is always going to be bigger. It's always going to go up. And so that money on future caps is a smaller percentage of the salary cap than it will be this year.
That is true.
And so I don't think it's quite like, oh, hey, it's irresponsible to say savings and it's irresponsible to do this. It really depends on what the Saints feel like they need to accomplish in this free agency period. And if that is going to require $20 million, well, then great, they're done and they're going to have a whole truckload of money next year. But if they say it's going to require $50 million, they're going to have to push some more money into future years so that they can get what they feel like they need to be competitive this year. Because I think we would all agree that if spending $30 more million in this year's free agency period as opposed to next year's means that they're going to go 10-7 instead of 8-9, that's probably worth it, even though you spent some of next year's money already. So it just really depends on how they view their roster and how they view this free agent class.
I think that I had hit the cough button. I couldn't get it off. I think that's fair, but look, like I say, I like the moves they made so far, but just be careful, I guess, is the way to put it. Let's talk about, when we talk about the savings, we're going to talk about Alvin Kamara and whether this means he's coming back in a minute, but talk about his restructure. He goes from a cap number of $18.6 million to $10.5. And we all know he's going after, this is his last year as a Saint, barring something really strange. He's going after this year. His dead cap hits now move to $7.1 million in 2027, $5.1 in 28, and $2 million in each seasons of 29 and 30. But I will say this, with what they've done, they've basically freed up the money that they would have freed up had they done the post-June 1 cut. So they really did a good job with what they've done with Kamara, and you get to keep him. It's just now how they're going to use him.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I totally understand this restructure as opposed to other ones. The Saints used kind of a lesser-known salary cap rule or machination or whatever to get this done. From what I understand, though, effectively, this makes it very easy for them to move on from him after this season without much of a cap hit. And it does make it easier for them to move on from him this offseason if they so choose. So I wonder if it was done, with the idea in mind, like, hey, maybe we do get Jeremiah Love in the draft. And if we do, Kamara becomes expendable, or maybe we do get one of these, bigger name free agents on a good deal, and then he becomes expendable. But if we don't, we can keep him around, have him have one more run here in New Orleans and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that this means that he is coming back. I mean, I was 50-50 before. I'd say it's probably 80% now. They, like you said, they still can cut him. They probably won't. Jimmy Rosen says he's all in on Jeremiah Love. Answer this question for me, Zach, as I hit the cough button again. Do you think that Bills offensive lineman guard David Edwards should be the first player that the Saints target and sign him as soon as free agency opens?
To me, targeting a guard makes sense. Targeting a starting level plug-and-play guard absolutely makes sense. Whether that's David Edwards or Zion Johnson or Isaac Samalo, Elijah Vera Tucker, Joel Bitonio. I mean, there's a lot of guards out there who would fit that bill. So I'm not pinpointing David Edwards. I don't think the Saints are laser focused on one guy. If they were, I would actually think it'd be Zion Johnson, who's a little younger, right, and who has played for Kellen Moore before. So I would look more towards Zion Johnson than David Edwards, but it's a little bit of a what flavor of, do they like, what are they looking for in that guard?
Some other free agency restructures this morning. You guys reported it also. Kat Terrell on ESPN. I was looking at some of the things that she was saying. And you guys, all your numbers are pretty much the same. Juwan Johnson restructured his contract. He's signed through 2027. He'll go from $13.9 million not dead cap. It's not a dead cap. He's here. From $13.9 million to $7.6 million against the cap in 2026. He'll go to $15.7 million in 2027, which means he's probably likely to be restructured again, we'll see. 4.6 million in 28, 3.7 in 29, and 1.5 million. And then a big one also, Zach, Justin Reed also signed through 2027. He goes from 11.5 million to 5.2 million this year, freeing up some money. And then 13.1 million next year. And then really down the road, he only goes 3.8 million in 28 and 29 and 1.5 million in 2030. So even if he's gone after his contract is up next year, assuming they don't restructure him as well, I mean, those dead cap hits later are almost nothing.
Yeah, and that's why they do this, right? Because again, the money to spend this year is always worth more to you than the money you can spend in future years. You can just keep doing this, and as long as you're not doing it with giant contracts or carrying a bunch of dead money, you're going to be okay because the salary cap is going to keep going up. So they're going to be okay. They're in pretty good shape. They're in such good shape that I think this actually is kind of why they're letting Cam Jordan and Demario Davis go test the market, because if they decide to re-sign those guys, now they're going to have to pay out their dead money and their new contract. Whereas if they re-signed them before Monday, and that's still possible with Demario, they could restructure the deal so that they don't have to pay both. But I think they feel comfortable, like, letting those guys go test the market. I think those guys, there's enough mutual respect there to where those guys will come back and give the Saints a chance to match any offer they get. And we'll see what happens. But I think they're a little more comfortable than they have been in the past, for sure.
All right, I'm going to throw a comment. There it is. I'm going to throw a comment on that I completely disagree with, and I think that you are going to be more inclined to agree. I think you and I differ on this subject as we kind of go into what I want to talk about mostly today, or at least our title subject. William Hester says, we're about to lose Cam and Demario in free agency. That means they are drafting defense in the first round. I don't think it makes any difference. I've said this for weeks and weeks, and I'm going to say it again. And again, I think we differ, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't think this team is in a position to draft best player available. I just don't. Okay. And I think with an offensive-minded coach, and obviously guard is the number one need for this team. But I don't even think it's close. Whether Cam comes back or Demario comes back or either one of those guys come back, I think it's clear. And Alvin Kamara, even if he comes back, he's not an RB1 anymore. I don't think there's any doubt that the number one need for this team after guard is running back, and a close second is wide receiver. So I still think they're going skill position at number 8. Again, it's early. I might change my mind over the course of the next 7 weeks, but that's just what my opinion is right now.
Oh, I mean, you could 100% be right about that they're going to draft a skill player, but I think just eliminating this idea of being okay with a defensive player is a little silly. It makes for a good soundbite when you say, if they draft defense, I'm going to crash out. It makes for a good soundbite. It's not really realistic. I mean, what if
it's realistic? I'm going to crash out.
What if Arvell Reese is caught with a bong the night before the draft?
Okay, well, that's not going to happen.
I'm just saying, like,
that's different. I mean, you're talking about a guy who, I mean, Arvell, I'm talking about realistically who could fall. I mean, if Arvell Reese falls, sure. I think that's a guy who's.
Well, what if the Saints like Ruben Bain better than Arvell Reese? I mean, I'm throwing Arvell Reese out there.
Insane.
Everyone thinks that he's a top 3 pick, but what if the Saints have Ruben Bain or David Bailey as a top 3 pick and he falls to them? Like, I agree with you. You shouldn't go blanket best player available, but if you've got Caleb Downs, I mean, look, you say running back's their biggest hole. If Alante Taylor walks, which it looks like
he's going to, sure.
Slot corner is their biggest hole, and outside of guard's their biggest hole, but they don't have anybody to play that spot.
I think that you can make some more moves. I mean, you can move Sanker to corner.
Okay, I mean, you're going to converted safety 3rd round pick is going to be your answer at a premium position. I don't know about that.
I mean, it's definitely a premium position. There's no doubt about it. That's clearly a need. But you're talking about in my opinion, they don't have a running back. I'm sorry, Alvin Kamara is done. Even if he comes back, he's freaking done. Okay, I mean, you look at the number of what he did last year. You don't get better as you get older. He's going to be used sort of like Cam Jordan was used last year, and which is a good thing. I mean, I think he'd be semi-productive. When I say done, I mean they'll probably have numbers similar to last year. And it's great if he only has to play 40 to 50% of your snaps. Great, but they either need to go get a running back in free agency, and again, I said I wasn't going to talk about Jeremiah Love, or they need to draft Jeremiah Love in the draft, and he just might not be there. So that's just my opinion. We got plenty of time to talk about this going forward, but
Yeah.
I want to talk more about defense this morning. I just wanted to throw that out there. And I know how you feel. I know you're more of a best player available guy than I am, because when you're a team, I mean, I guess my point is, when you're a team that's still not good, because the Saints aren't good. Let's be realistic. They still aren't good. They're better than they were this time last year, but they've got they're and I'll put the number back on the screen. I mean, their win total, over under win total, and you and I have talked about this, is still 7.5, which means you're still not a good football team, whether that changes or not. And I just think that teams that aren't good football teams yet need to go get their needs first to make themselves better as they go forward.
That's fair, but my counter would be that running backs are better fits for teams that are looking for the finishing touches. Just look at the Raiders.
That's also fair.
Adding a premium running back to a bad roster typically doesn't make a big difference. They're more of the finishing piece than they are a building block.
That's a mess of a franchise, though.
And the Saints are in better shape than the Raiders, I think. We'll see how good Fernando Mendoza is. But that's my only thing about Love. There may be a way to straddle the fence here, by the way, where you don't have to necessarily, like, first of all, I think it's very fair to question whether Jeremiah Love will be available at.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And so you can't count on that happening. So maybe he is, and maybe he is the guy the Saints want. And so if he gets to that point, you want to have the ability to pick him. Well, if you go sign Travis Etienne in free agency, Rico Dowdle or Kenneth Walker or any of these guys, you're probably at that point then not taking Jeremiah Love, even should he fall to you. That's too many resources to put on one position when you have a Swiss cheese roster. And you're like, okay, well, let's spend big time free agent dollars and our top 10 pick on running back. That's stupid. So I don't think that's going to happen. But the way to straddle the fence, what if you went and got a lower tier free agent? And I actually have one in mind.
Okay.
Sean Tucker from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Matt mentions him in his story. We did a free agency preview pod that we just recorded. It'll be up in a couple of hours on our YouTube page. And we talk about Sean Tucker. I think not necessarily him, but a guy like him who you don't.
I've seen Kenneth Gainwell potentially as well.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell is probably a little more. He's maybe, that, I don't know, $7-8 million range.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 6-7.
Yeah, six. Sean Tucker, you could get maybe for less than that, maybe $3 or $4 million, right? Because the guy's never been a starter. But that way you have the ability to, if Jeremiah Love does fall to you, well, Sean Tucker's not going to block Jeremiah Love. Go ahead and get Jeremiah Love. But if he doesn't fall to you, or you don't, what's the kid from Arkansas, Washington? Maybe maybe you have your eye on him in the second or third round. Like, if that falls to you, fine. You're adding depth to your room and just let the best man win. But otherwise, if it doesn't work out in the draft and Caleb Downs is there at 8 and you think, oh, that's the guy we got to take, then at least Sean Tucker is a guy you can add to the mix with Kendry Miller, with Devin Neal, and even with Alvin Kamara, and say, we're going to throw a committee at this thing for 1 year before we come up with our long-term solution. Maybe that's Sean Tucker. Maybe it's Devin Neal. Maybe it's somebody outside the organization. But you can kind of, you see what I'm saying? You can kind of go halfway.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a good move. I certainly think a guy like Sean Tucker can be a starter. Is he an RB1? I doubt it. But Gabe says maybe Tyler Algier certainly could be an RB1. Obviously, playing in the shadows of one of the best running backs in the world. Earl's picks. He's got a question. He said it might be stupid, but is it possible to? I don't think there's no stupid questions, right? There's just stupid answers from your host. Is it possible to re-sign Fortner and slide him to guard? And if anything happens to McCoy, then he can slide over to center. That way we don't lose him.
Man, I don't think Luke Fortner's played much guard in the NFL.
Yeah,
I know he did in college.
So many people, including my friend Lance, wants to move centers to guard and stuff. But just because like Ruiz was a center that moved to guard, I mean, not all centers can play guard. They're not all equal. You don't move a McCoy to a guard. It's not going to happen. So
the answer to that question is yes, it's possible to do that. But you're talking about that. Now, there's some things we just don't know. We haven't seen Luke Fortner ever work out at guard. I don't know if the Saints have ever seen Luke Fortner work out at guard.
Right.
If they have and they think that there's something there, then that becomes more of a possibility. But in general, I would say starting to slide pieces around the O-line and say, oh, well,
I don't think they want to do that this year.
It's not a 1-for-1. It's not just, he was a decent center, so he'll make a decent guard. He may not.
Also, Zach, they've been doing that a lot the last few years. We've seen, they tried out Penning at guard. They've moved, guys all over the place along the offensive line, and I think they want to find stability there, and so I think they're going to go and find whatever guard it is and they want. And see, Lance, I know you're on the Tyler Linderbaum train. Okay, it's not going to happen. And this is you're absolutely wrong. All free agent guards suck. This is the best free agency year for guards that I've seen in maybe a decade. Older retreads or guys that are okay but not good. That was the 14th ranked guard. You are wrong. I'm sorry, you're wrong. There are plenty of free agent guards that are available that are going to be good and absolutely worth the money, in my opinion, of course.
Interestingly enough, we have heard the Saints are not totally enamored with this guard class in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's true or not,
shocked.
I don't know.
Be shocked if they don't sign one of the best.
Yeah, they've got to sign somebody. I mean,
they've got to.
If you don't, you go into the draft with that as just this enormous glaring hole. And that's when you get pigeonholed not in the first round, but you get pigeonholed in the second, third, fourth round. And just saying, well, we've got to have this guard, even though we've got 3 other players 20 spots higher on our board. We've got to have a starting caliber guard. I don't think you want to go into the draft in that situation.
You want to hear worst case scenario for the draft, in my opinion, is that they go defense, that they do what you said. They don't want any of these guards in free agency. So, and then they go defense in the first round and offensive line in the second round. I'm going to want to pull hair out and poke myself in the eyes. It's like, what? Because I could absolutely see something like that happen.
And you can't draft a guard on the third day of the draft, or even maybe late second day, and that's our starter.
Right, because we see how that happens.
Nick Saliveri was a 3rd round pick.
I thought it was 5th round.
I don't think so.
3rd round?
Maybe 4th. He was I think he was a day 2. Maybe I'm wrong, but he
4th. He was 4th.
Okay,
we split the difference.
You can't just, oh yeah, he's the guy. He was picked number 103, so early 4th round. That's not a viable strategy to address the position. Not unless you also brought in a free agent and you're planning on letting the best man take the job. Then maybe you throw some bodies at the situation, and the chances are better that one of them emerges as a starting caliber player.
We're going forward. I'll just say again, I'll repeat myself. There's not a lot of things I'm going to be shocked at, because the Saints, I think this whole offseason is up in flux, just because I think certain things or whatever, doesn't matter what I think. What do you think? Whatever. Saints may have a completely different strategy. But if they don't sign one of the top 5 or 6 free agent guards, I'm going to be shocked at that. That's just my opinion. Adam Varner says, what is the benefit of bringing Kamara back? He's been on the decline. Half the time he doesn't seem to care. I don't agree with that. Half the time he doesn't seem to care. I think that his injuries have been probably been more of a problem than anything. And when you look, how many times do we have to say, when you hit that, when your age starts with a 3, it's completely different for a running back. I said this the other day, and I'm not sure whether you heard me or not, but 23 in the history of the NFL, only 23 rushers have rushed for 750 yards or more at 31 or older. And Alvin Kamara turns 31 on July 25th. So I'm not saying he can't do it, and he doesn't rush for a lot of yards anyway. I know we use more of total offense than we do just rushing, but it just goes to show running backs, when they hit that age, to me, 31, and I joked the other day on Twitter and said 31's like being 51 when you're a running back, but it's like being 36 somewhere else.
Every situation is different. I mean, I agree with the comment that Alvin Kamara at times has looked disinterested, that he, having said that, it was just a year ago that he looked like one of the best running backs in the NFL for 2 weeks in those games against Carolina and Dallas, and then dropped off. Injuries have been part of it. O-line problems have been part of it. Like, we're sitting here parsing what they do at age 29 versus 30 versus 31. And I know big picture that matters, but it also, when you're looking at it on an individual basis, Alvin Kamara probably doesn't have as much tread on the tires as some of those 31-year-olds. He split time with Mark Ingram early in his career. He hasn't actually had a lot of carries the last 2 years because he's been hurt. So if you threw in an improved O-line, and you obviously health is a concern, but if he could stay healthy, I don't think it's crazy to say there's one more good season in Alvin Kamara. Now, should you count on that? Should that be your plan A at running back? Probably not. But if you did go and sign an Algier or a Tucker or somebody, or drafted someone a little later than the first round, Alvin Kamara, I think, could go into 2026 as like a 1A or 1B in your running back situation. And you could still, I don't think he's like completely fallen off a cliff dunzo.
To your point, and I agree with you about the tread part. We talked about Latavius Murray the other day, and it's why when he came here to the Saints at age 29, it was fine because he had spent a lot of time on Minnesota's bench and didn't have a lot of touches. So it worked out for him. I'm going to push back just a little bit, because if you look at Kamara's touches, this doesn't include the playoffs. This is just the regular season. In the regular season, over the course of his career, he has touched the ball, let's see, an average of 253 times per season. That sounds like a lot to me. I mean, I can compare him to someone else. Let's do Christian McCaffrey and see that. Or let's do, Christian McCaffrey is a good one as I do this live. And this is a guy that's been hurt, so his numbers are probably going to be a little different. But Christian McCaffrey, over the course of his career, has touched the ball at age 29 about almost exactly the same amount of time throughout the career, and he spent 4 seasons where he didn't even play half a season. So I don't know. Sounds like a lot to me.
It would be risky. I mean, like I said, I don't think it can be your plan A. I also don't think Alvin Kamara is just over the hill, get rid of him, you're not losing anything. I mean, I think he could be part of the plan.
2,280 touches in his career total for Kamara. So anyway, that kind of leads into Larry Bro ask, Matthew Paris has Travis Etienne as a good free agent target for the Saints. Do I agree? No, I don't, but that's okay. That doesn't mean anything. What would that mean for what they would do in the draft? Would Jeremiah Love still be on the table? I still think I've said this. I think Travis Etienne's going to the Chiefs. It's not a done deal. Just everything I read through the lines. I think that's one of their number one targets. He makes more sense there. But I shouldn't say no. Is he a good free agent target for the Saints? Because any top free agent is going to be a good target for the Saints. I don't know necessarily that that's who they're going to be looking at, Zach.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, he would fit. Does he fit at the cost? Is that where you want to spend, a quarter or a third of your available free agent money? That's really what this comes down to for me. And I'm just not enamored with him as a difference maker. And as I said last week, I think what you're searching for at that position is a difference maker. If you don't have that, you might as well just stick with what you've got.
Mitch Bergeron says the Saints only scored more than 20 points in 5 games last year. Whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, offense will be a priority for Kellen Moore, and that's exactly where I'm at, really. Go ahead, you can comment.
Oh, I mean, I was just going to say I agree in general. I think they're definitely going to pick up a running back somewhere and probably a receiver somewhere. People forget with the receiver room. You still got Jalen Polk, you still got Trey Palmer, Devon Vele. I mean, they've got a lot of younger guys in that room. To me, that's less of a priority. You need a difference maker. You need someone to step up and be the number 2 behind Olave. Who is that going to be? Could it be one of the guys you've got, or do you feel like you need to go get someone?
As I try to shift back into defense, because that's really what I wanted to talk more about today. Keem says that's why Mansour Delane should be also considered, because we don't have a CB1. I just don't see the Saints going after Mansour Delane at 8.
Seems a little early. I mean, again, we don't. It's so funny because no one would have considered Kelvin Banks at 9 at this point last year on March the 6th. Like, no way. He was at the very tail end of the first round of mock drafts.
Very true.
He shot up boards.
Very true.
He shot up mock drafts. These teams' boards may be completely different than what we see in the mock drafts, and that the mock drafts change because that information starts to leak out the closer you get to the draft. The team's boards aren't changing so much. They're not seeing some guy at a pro day and being like, oh my God, I didn't know he could do that. I mean, not usually. Most of the time, their scouting departments have already identified some of these guys, and they may be hoping that doesn't happen at a pro day so no one else realizes it's happening. So in answer to that question, like, Mansour Delane is at least possible. I mean, the Saints may really like him.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not possible.
And I do agree with the idea that I don't think you really have a number one corner on this roster. I'm not trying to throw shade on Kool-Aid McKinstry or Quincy Riley, but I haven't seen that from them yet. So
Yeah. Kool-Aid has been sort of a disappointment so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to consider something like that, a Caleb Downs or a Mansour Delane. Like, that is an area where you could absolutely upgrade. I know the defensive numbers were better than the offensive numbers last year, but I also think there was some noise in that. Like, there was a little bit of duct tape and string holding that thing together. There was a little bit of really weak teams you played late in the season that propped that number up. I think defense is more of a need than maybe the numbers say it was.
Ryan O'Shea says defense is razor thin. Go down the position groups on defense and say where we have an above average group. We have Chase Young. Why do people just keep, and again, I keep getting texts and direct messages and whatever about edge rushers and people talking about all we have is Chase Young. That's it. Do we just ignoring Granderson? I mean, I know he hasn't been what he was, 2 years ago. He had kind of a breakout year and he's been just okay since, but I mean, he's getting completely ignored, and I don't understand that.
Sorry, Jim, you cut out. You were talking about who?
Oh, I said Carl Granderson. Why do people keep ignoring Carl Granderson?
Yeah, I agree. He's probably a little bit, not talked about as much as he deserves. I don't think he's a superstar. He's a solid player.
Yeah. I get right. He's not, but you can't just ignore him. You can't say the Saints don't have anything there but Chase Young. That's simply not true. You can't have 3 Chase Youngs on your team. You have Chase Young, and then Granderson to me is an edge rusher 2 per se. I mean, I know we don't say ER2s or whatever, but he's certainly a solid second edge rusher.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 3 Chase Youngs, you have the Houston Texans defense.
Exactly. There's no question.
Certainly that would be a North Star goal, but you can't expect it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. The thing is, Lance, stop it. They're not going after Linderbaum. He's not. I'm not going to say 0.0, but how about this? I'm going to do 0.2. Can we do that? 0.2. They're not moving McCoy to guard. They simply are not moving McCoy to guard. It's not going to happen.
And Linderbaum is he's going to be expensive, man. You're probably looking close to $20 million a year for him.
They're not going to
You're going to spend the bulk of your free agent dollars so that you can move your all-pro off of center. That stretches my imagination.
Yeah, it's just not going to say it. Adam, also to continue on about Kamara, I'm trying to talk defense, but I know some people still want to talk about AK. That's fine. I said injuries play a part of Alvin Kamara's lack of production at his age. Why risk him continuing to get injured? Because they're already invested in him, Adam. Look, I've said this before. I think AK is pretty much done. So do I love him coming back? No, I don't. But the Saints obviously think, and I know you're more on board with, look, if you're pretty much paying for him anyway, you might as well bring him back. He can mentor someone who does come in. Look, again, and what they're paying for him, and I'll go back to the number again. He'll now be $10.5 million. He's going to be $10.5 million hit no matter whether you keep him or you don't keep him. You might as well keep him now. And then dead cap hits later, which total about $18 million over the course of 4 years, which isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. So at this point, I would say you would just keep him. You risk him to continue getting injured. I mean, you risk anybody. At this point, I think you're pretty much going to keep him, is my opinion on that.
Probably so. I mean, what they did, again, does make it a little bit easier for them to move on if they want to. But yeah, for the most part, to answer the question, like, he's a sunk cost. This is not the same conversation as Cam Jordan or Demario Davis, where you're going, well, do you really want to spend that money on? You've already spent the money. So when you're saying, well, why risk it? The risk is it's baked in. You're already committed that the money's in the pot. So you can't, like, folding now is nothing but just admitting defeat.
Right. And that's why, that's why I said before, like, if it were up to me, I wouldn't be bringing him back. But when I saw what they were able to do, and I mean, again, they did a great job of restructuring his deal. And now I'm like, okay, well, I could see him coming back now. So again, if you use them like you used Cam Jordan last year, and we said this earlier, I can't remember where I said, whether this was Matt that said this or Kat or who, I don't remember who said that, where I read this, but after Chase Young came back from injury, Cam Jordan played in 46% of snaps, and he was super productive for what he is. And I think That's what you're going to probably see from AK this year. I think they're going to go into the year, unless they just don't get a running back, and I don't see that happening. I think they're going to go into the year saying, our goal is to play AK like 45 to 50% of the snaps. And then you protect him somewhat against getting injured. You keep him as fresh as you can. You get him 12 to 14 touches a game, and he can be effective like that.
Right. Even if you were to bring in a Love or a top tier free agent or something, I think
correct
to split carries. And if you didn't, it's going to be like more of a committee situation where maybe he's the head of the committee, but he's not somebody you would draft in fantasy football. He's not going to get the bulk of the carries.
Yeah. Hakeem says Bud Clark from TCU would be an excellent pickup around 3 if we don't get downs at 8. I'm not sure safety is in. I think we need to go more corner right now than safety. But maybe. I mean, I could be wrong there. Mohamed Hassan says, all I know is that I promised an epic meltdown of the Saints drafted defensive player, so he will be logging in with his popcorn fresh in hand. Are you going to be upset, Mohamed, if they draft Jeremiah Love or they draft you're not just going to turn off, right? I'm just going to say, because I don't know what's going to happen there. All right. I want to bring up this slide here, and I want to talk about, as we talk about the draft itself, and you look at top, this is really, it's a super deep draft as far as edge rushers go. Again, I'm not just talking about the top part of the draft where it matters whether the Saints draft the defensive player with the first pick, but I certainly think if you want to think about this with your second pick of the draft, I think that's an excellent spot, because now I'm just showing on, if you're listening after the fact, you can't see the slide here on the screen. I've got the top 5 edge rushers in the draft according to PFF. But overall on PFF's big board, Zach, they've got 13 of their in the top 66. 13 are edge rushers. This is a super deep draft. We'll get into some of the other guys in a minute, but Ruben Bain is their 5th best player on the board. David Bailey of Texas Tech is number 6. And you go down the line, you got Messidor from Miami and Falk from Auburn and Howell from A&M, 21, 23, and 26 respectively. But there are a lot of guys, including a guy from Mizzou that could be available in the Saints pick in the second round, Zion Young, that I think could be an interesting selection. But there are a lot of edge rushers in this draft.
Yeah, Zion Young is trending more late first round from what I've seen, but we'll see. And this is a position where a lot, like, I don't care who you are, unless maybe you're the Texans, you could always use another edge rusher. Because these guys rotate in and out of the game. They do better when they're fresher. You could always use a difference maker at that position. I guess they're not considering Arvell Reese an edge rusher on this list.
Yeah, I guess they didn't.
But he kind of is as well. He's more of an outside linebacker type stand-up.
That would be 14 or 66. I also like Malachi Lawrence of Central Florida too, who they've got like 51 on their big board.
Yeah, there's no question.
My point is there are just so many guys. I don't think this is another reason why I don't think even if the Saints want to draft an edge rusher in the draft, they don't have to do it at 8. I think you can clearly wait to the second round and get a guy that's going to come in and start for you right away.
No, but if one of those top 2 guys, Bain and Bailey, is there for you, you have to consider it. To not only fill that hole, but fill it with a difference maker. That's a position that can change defenses.
I'm on a diet, but I'm considering eating cake for lunch. I'm probably not going to do it.
Jeremiah loves the cake, man. That's the fun pick. That's the temptation. Picking an edge rusher or Caleb Downs or somebody is more like eating your vegetables and knowing that it's good for you.
Earl says all he knows is he hasn't been pumped up about his team in years. That's kind of the point too. And I don't think I brought this up to you last week, but I've been asking a lot of other guests that we've had on. One thing you certainly can say is think about what we were talking about last year at this time, and it's completely different. There was almost no optimism, Zach. Sure, some people were. We had Lances that they were going to win 10 games, and we knew damn well they weren't going to win 10 games. But for the most part, there just wasn't hardly any optimism. At least now you could say, hey, you know what? It's not ridiculous to say that the Saints could win 10 games. I don't think they're going to win 10 games next year, but at least now it's not ridiculous to say it and to have hope for this team in the near future.
No, and I heard you briefly mention the Pelicans before I came on, and last year where the Saints were last year reminds me of where the Pelicans are now, where you're just
Yeah.
like, what is the plan? What is, do you even have a plan? And it
Yep.
turned out that I don't know whether there was a little bit of luck involved or if this was the plan the whole time, but they clearly they got out of cap hell. They got apparently their quarterback of the future, at least for the next year or two. We'll see, we'll see how well Tyler Shuck continues to play, but like you feel good about at least trying that out. And if that does work, you can see, it's not just light out at the end of the tunnel. We're approaching the end of the tunnel. Like that light's becoming bigger and bigger to where you think, okay, if you just play this offseason right, and you look at that division, like, yeah, there's a lot of optimism or a lot of reason to at least be hopeful. Whereas last year you were really having to invent reasons to be hopeful.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is a name that keeps popping up, and this is another name my son keeps bringing up. I'm going to keep saying, what's to know if Kenyon Sadiq is too much of a reach at 8? PFF, again, this isn't the end all, but PFF's draft board, talking about Sadiq, they have him as their 14th overall player. Look, we've seen tight ends become huge parts of offenses. Now, again, you got Juwan Johnson. Do you want to spend the 8th pick of the draft on a tight end? I don't know, maybe, but depends on what you look at him. And 6'3", 245. I mean, teams have been looking at tight ends a little bit different as of late.
Yeah, and that is a sneaky big need.
Sure, it is.
After Juwan Johnson, you really don't have. Yeah, you have Maliki Mataveo, your 7th round pick last year. I think is the only other tight end currently under contract for next year. So it is a sneaky big need. For me, Kenyon Sadiq at 8 is a bit of a reach. I'm always a little bit wary of the guys who like all of a sudden were being talked about as fringe first rounders. And now after the combine, everybody's like, oh my God, he's a top 10 pick.
Exactly.
I'm a little bit wary of that. Now, as I said, most teams have their boards before the combine. The combine is not changing a bunch of their minds. And so maybe if they had their eyes on him beforehand, then yes. But for me, that top 10 pick is your biggest opportunity to fill one of these holes with a difference maker. That's the phrase I keep using. And is Kenyon Sadiq that difference maker? And is that where you want the difference maker over Jeremiah Love or David Bailey or Reuben Bain or Caleb Downs or one of these other guys? And for me personally, the answer is no. I think Sadiq would be you're wishing and hoping a little bit more. And even if it works out, I guess you just play a lot of 2 tight end sets, but you have Juwan Johnson who had a productive season. And you take Sadiq and okay, you got 2 really good tight ends, but now you still have all these other holes. To me, that's not the number one answer.
That's something to me is if you trade down a little bit and you say, you know what, we don't want Jeremiah Love, which they may be thinking. I mean, they may not want Jeremiah Love, or they may go after.
They're not trading down.
I know they're not, but I like to bring it up every now and then because it's.
We say this every year. Maybe this is the year. It's not the year.
0.9.
It feels to me like if they didn't do it last year, they're never doing it.
Yeah,
last year was the time when you were sort of out in the wilderness and you had so many needs. It was like that was the year to trade down, pick up extra picks. Now that you're maybe trending back toward contention, if you didn't do it last year, you're not doing it now.
Gabe says Sadiq, his hype has always been about his measurables as opposed to his play. I mean, it sounds like he's against the 8th pick of the draft for Sadiq.
Sounds like Juwan Johnson.
Earl said the Bears went out and took Loveland. I think, what was he like? He wasn't super duper high, was he? I don't remember.
It was a pick right after the Saints, wasn't it? With the Bears at 10.
Was it right after the Saints?
10 or 11. Now, and again, to me, Loveland was always a bona fide first rounder. He and Tyler Warren were rated much higher going into the process than Sadiq. Sometimes I also feel
there's no Tyler Warren in this draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like these mock draft artists and these draftnik people like, oh, we don't have a tight end in the first round. Who could we throw up there as a talking point? Oh, Kenyon Sadiq. And you're like, what? But is he really a top 10 talent? Like if the Saints were picking at 18, maybe so. I think you can get something better there.
As we close out the Saints segment here this morning, just talking about top edge rushers in free agency. And again, this is loaded. I mean, the edge rushers that are available. Do you see the Saints spending money and going out and getting an edge rusher in free agency with all the money they have tied up in Chase Young?
It's possible. It's possible, but edge rusher is one of those positions that's so expensive in free agency that
It
that
is.
would really soak up a lot of what the Saints are able to do, unless they want to go the nuclear option with the restructures and say, we're going to restructure every last thing we can. Anything that's not bolted down gets restructured so we can. And maybe that, again, I said at the top, that's something they could possibly do. They have the space next year to where it wouldn't be a big concern if they did that. But it feels unlikely just based on the cost. I think you're more likely to see them go after a guard and then maybe a skill player. Maybe they go get a tight end in free agency. Dallas Goedert is out there. Maybe that's their answer to the tight end problem. It obviously has a history with Kellen Moore. So those are more things I would look for in free agency versus an edge rusher. But you never know. I mean, like I said, you never have enough of those guys.
And if you're curious on PFF's free agent top edge free rushers and free agency, Cameron Jordan currently lines up at number 10, just ahead of Brandon Graham for the Eagles. I'd almost rather have Brandon Graham, but that's blasphemy. You can't say that on live TV. Although I just did. Anyway, your thoughts, kind of going on again as we wrap up this free agency segment. I think the Saints are going to, they always do. They go out there and somebody you don't even think that they're necessarily interested in, they end up going after. I think there's going to be a surprise pick. Again, I'll be shocked if they don't do guard, and it doesn't necessarily have to be first. But I could see them going out and either side on an edge rusher or a cornerback, and I'll pull up real quick the top cornerbacks in free agency. But I think they're going to go after, now that they're going to free up more money. And, we talk about Chase Young, whether we talked about him or not, but he restructured his contract as well. Actually converted part of his signing bonus. Is it official yet that he did it, or he's going to do it?
He's the one who didn't show up on the NFLPA database. So for some reason it didn't go.
It showed up on Spot Track.
Spot Track is not, they're not going to have, I think they're basing on, there's enough good sources saying that he did it to where it's, for some reason, the paperwork didn't get filed yesterday. It didn't show up on the database this morning, but it should.
Yeah, they're going to get another $11 million or so when they officially convert part of his salary to a signing bonus. So Chase Young helping out there. But I just think there's going to be some surprise signing and there always is. Someone you don't even have your eye on, someone we're not even talking about.
Yeah, I don't know that a lot of us were discussing Justin Reed last year. And he ended up being the Saints' big signing along with Chase Young. But there's probably somebody out there we're not really talking about. But I think we're going to see a fairly big name move to the Saints in the first couple days. This is different than it has been the last couple of years. They've got money to spend. They know they have holes. They're ready to contend again. I think not that they're going to go be huge spenders, but I think they will be involved.
Gabe said he was talking about Justin Reed. He was all fired up. And if the Saints sign Rico Dowdle, you might see Gabe wear black and gold. I'm just saying, you might say Gabe might get himself a Saints jersey if Rico Dowdle comes to the Saints. It's possible. Some of the top cornerbacks available in free agency. Jamel Dean would be a really good one. He's the number one free agent on the list from Tampa Bay. Jalen Watson, Tariq Woolen, Mike Hilton from the Colts, Asante Samuel, Rasul Douglas up there. So some big names among there as well. Awuzie is available from the Ravens.
Asante Samuel, a history with Brandon Staley in L.A.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, so some possibilities from there. UBN says Joe Montana could come to the Saints, and UBN ain't getting the Saints jersey. First of all, you're full of crap. You would absolutely get if I gave you a Saints Montana jersey, you would wear it. Second of all, I don't see a 65-year-old quarterback coming to the Saints, but I guess anything is possible. All right. I do want to move on a little bit and pick your brain. I'm going to come back to the Saints after you go on here, but I've had you on for a long time here this one. Just a couple thoughts real quick. I said I was going to throw you a curveball. Just the Pels real quick. They beat the Sacramento Kings last night, 133-123. The Pels, before anyone gets excited about what they've done in the last part of the season, and again, we're only going to spend like 3 minutes on the Pels, but they have 3 wins over teams with current winning records since Christmas. So I'm not getting excited over wins over the Kings and the Clippers and the Jazz, who are just tanking. I'm just not getting fired up over it. Although I will say Zion's playing pretty well right now. Sadiq Bey is a keeper. Murphy coming back from injury has been playing well. But I just think there's so many changes that need to be made to this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see him playing hard, I guess, but I'm with you. It's who cares, man? Who cares if they win 28 games or 24 games? They don't have their pick. They're out in the wilderness. I really think you're going to see a pretty big shakeup in the offseason. I think Joe Dumars knows he's seen the landscape, and I think we're going to see a pretty big shakeup of the roster in the offseason.
Yeah, and I said this the other day. Yeah, look, I think Zion's gone. I really do. And I know we say this a lot and we question it. I'm not saying it as a question anymore. I think they're going to find a way to get rid of him. I don't know what they're going to get for him, but I think he needs that needs to be part of the shakeup. And again, to go along with what I've said Monday and Wednesday, this is nothing against James Borrego per se, but when you're going to do a major overhaul, I think you just need to part ties with the coaching staff that you have now. And I just think they need to bring in a new coaching staff.
Yeah, I actually like James Borrego, but like you're saying, I mean, James Borrego may not want
against him.
I mean, if you are hard resetting, does he even want to be the guy here? Maybe he does, and maybe he can be part of the conversation. But I just think it's got to be. I mean, they are a laughing stock right now, and if you're going to change it, you go change everything.
You know, and Fletcher said on Monday here on the show, talking about how, you know, this team is now looked at like, you know, a lot like the Kings are being looked at, a lot like the team. I mean, no one expects this team to be good anytime soon. And it's you got to find a way to get out of that. I mean, you had a position, the Pels were in a position where they could have changed things, and they're fortunate of going south over the course of 2 years. You're almost at rock bottom to me right now. And they've just got to make changes.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Pels are a mess. Absolutely. All right. That's it for the Pelicans portion of the show. Lastly, before I let you go, look, I like to pick on my friends from the West, wearing Louisiana on their jersey.
Eat some crow this morning, huh?
Getting all fired up because they won a meaningless midweek game. We'll see you in Omaha. Ooh la la. Oh, wait, we probably won't see you in Omaha. Whatever. LSU is still, as of this morning, still the favorite to win the College World Series. Louisiana, I'm going to have to dive deep. I did not look, but I'm going to have to dive deep on that list. Maybe I can find them somewhere.
Yeah, there's a little bit of trouble in paradise, and I do expect, and I did expect this LSU season to have quite a few ups and downs. Like it's just hard to keep that razor focus the year after you won a title. It's just human nature to relax. And they started out well, and that probably made it even harder to avoid relaxing. And I think they relaxed a little bit. And they haven't played well, and there's going to be ups and downs. And I don't know that LSU is going to go into the tournament with a top 8 seed or anything. Maybe they will, but I trust Jay Johnson to get it together, especially when it comes to the lineup. That's his specialty. He is going to get these guys hitting. LSU will be formidable by the end of the season. It's just not going to be a linear path to get there.
Hey, Gabe and I were doing the same thing at the same time. By the way, Louisiana Lafayette, which is what they're listed as by DraftKings, they're listed as Louisiana Lafayette. The LSU Tigers are plus 650.
Angry emails to DraftKings incoming. Change our name.
Don't make me cough, Zach Ewing. LSU is plus 650, which means for people who don't know betting terms, they're basically they are 6.5 to 1 to win the College World Series. Louisiana Lafayette plus 30,000. You could put $100 UBN on the Raging Cajuns of Ooh La La, and if they win the national championship, you would get $30,000 in return. You putting some money on it? How about $1?
Betting college baseball futures markets is a call the number move. It is so random.
Chad, I know you're a ooh la la guy, but this is ridiculous. Meaningless? You know LSU wanted to win that game as much as USL. He actually called him USL, but he's a ooh la la guy. I'm going to say this. Of course they wanted to win the game. Nobody goes into a game not wanting to win a game. But LSU uses almost every single midweek game, including against Ooh La La, as sort of like maybe just one tick above what a major league team would do with spring training. They're using all kinds of pitching combinations. Jay Johnson's still trying to figure out what his weekend pitching is going to look like. I'm not just talking about starters. I'm talking about what his reliever rotation is going to look like. That's what he's trying to figure out right now. Whereas Ooh La La was all in.
Right. They're not happy they lost the game. Nobody's saying
exactly.
that. But LSU's just got a much bigger picture in mind. And I'm not saying UL maybe does too, but I just think the fans put a lot more focus on this game than the respective teams do, probably. And that includes the Raging Cajuns.
I guess my point is, and I told this I had two people reach out to me after they thought I was directly pointing them out when I talked about direct messages or whatever messages I got. There were multiple people who are reaching out, and it's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. The sky is not falling. That LSU has not been great here over the course of the last week and a half. They're still 11-3. They still are favored to win the College World Series. Are they the best team in college baseball right now? No. I mean, you can make an argument. I think Texas is a great value at plus 1,100. You look at some of the other teams that are playing right now. UCLA is playing fantastic. But you go through, the sky is not falling, and LSU is still a really good baseball team, and they're going to get better. We're still a week away from the beginning of SEC play.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was late April of last year. They lost by 14-3 to Northwestern State or something, and then a week later,
11-1.
Or a week earlier than that, they got swept by Auburn. So, I mean, like, there are going to be peaks and valleys in every baseball season, even for the good teams.
13-3, Gabe says, by the way.
And again, I think especially this, when you're defending a championship and they have a lot of players back from that team, are you really getting up for March 4th midweek game?
Exactly.
Like, it's just hard.
Yeah.
You're telling yourself you should and you want to, but it's just hard to do it. Whereas I think come May and June, they'll be just fine. If
they're still playing like this on Star Wars Day, May the 4th, then yeah, it's a little bit different, but not on much. I just don't care. I'm not saying. So you can say you beat a College World Series team. Yeah, they're the defending national champion. Absolutely. They can, no matter what. I mean, I can joke about whatever I want, of course.
Yeah, why are we talking? Both things can be true, that LSU has bigger fish to fry, and this doesn't mean a ton in the grand scheme of things, but also on the other side, it's a really good win for the Raging Cajuns, and they should feel good about it. Yeah. Both things can be true.
Northeastern can say the same thing. Rockies beat the Dodgers last year.
Like 1 out of 13 times or something.
Whatever. I don't know. They still did it. All right. What are you doing this week? You got more soccer this weekend?
A little bit, yeah, but at least the tournament's in Baton Rouge this weekend, so I don't have to go far. My daughter is in her high school play, so we're going to go see that tonight.
Yeah. Okay. That's
so
cool.
That'll be fun.
My wife's out of the country, and I got another one. One of my daughters is sleeping out, so I haven't been out of the house because I've been stuck home in bed sick. By God, I'm getting my other daughter and I are going to have dinner. We're going to have a daddy-daughter date because I'm getting the hell out of this house tonight. I'm sick of being stuck in here. So anyway, that's what I'm doing this weekend. I don't wish this funk on anyone. Even the most loudest ooh la la. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's going to rain this weekend is the only thing. I think there's going to be quite a bit of rain.
It might mess up your soccer plans.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, honestly, his first game's at 8 a.m. tomorrow, which means he's got to be there at 7. So if it gets messed up, I'll hit the snooze button.
All right. Well, we will see you on Friday the 13th next week. That should be fun and interesting.
All right, man. See you then.
Lots of news probably before we see each other again. So enjoy your week.
Hope so.
Zach Ewing, everybody. Every Friday here on the Dattitude podcast. Try not to go verklempt. I mess with you. I will say this, and I'm dead serious when I say this. All kidding aside, if Ooh La La was in the College World Series and LSU wasn't, I would root for them. Unlike other teams that if they went, that I just think, I mean, do I need to say who they are? Okay, I'll say who they are. If Ole Miss was in the College World Series and they were playing the Yankees, I know you can't play the Yankees. I'm trying to think of my least favorite teams on planet Earth. If it was the Yankees versus Ole Miss, I'd root for the Yankees. If it were my most hated friend, sorry, Gabe, close your ears. If the Houston Astros played the Ole Miss Rebels, I would probably root for the Astros. Just saying. I just don't see I don't feel that way at all about Ooh La La is literally like the little brother who you like when you're bored, you play games with, but when your friends come knocking on the door, you leave. You're like, see you later, dude. And he's like tugging on your shirt. Hold on, I want to finish the Monopoly. Dude, I don't care. You won. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. Chad, here's part of the problem in all seriously. Says, you wish you didn't play LG. No, they should play in baseball. They 100% should play in baseball. So there shouldn't be 1A due to disparity in college. Baseball's different. Okay, you see teams that can compete in baseball. It's different. In football, now that's a different story. I mean, realistically, the former team known as USL, they could go to the College World Series. Realistically, they have in the last 10 years? It's been within 10 years since they've gone to the World Series, right, Gabe? I think it has been something like that. So that absolutely can happen. They could go to the tournament and they could go to the NCAA tournament. But I mean, like football? No. Just saying. Gabe will bring them on in a second. He says he wouldn't root for them under any circumstances. They could be playing the Monsters and I'd root for the Looney Tunes aliens. Why? I oughta. Hello, friends. I think I'm going to blow up the earth. Oh, Martian bastard. We told you earlier, completely moving away from Martian bastards. We told you earlier we would let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family run a privately held business and what it might be worth, whether it's time to sell. Let me say that again. It's time to figure out whether your family run or privately held business, what it might be worth, and whether it's time to sell. Well, how would you do that, you ask? I mean, well, if you wanted to do that, well, you would call Evangeline Securities or email Evangeline Securities, whatever. You'd get in touch with Nick Braden because after their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, the aforementioned friend of this show, native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from, around the whole wide world. The whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on that platform. There are very few companies like them in this area. And unlike drafting a defensive player in the first round, 0.0 with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. I haven't been able to say this for a while now because I've been saying, hold on, I think I can muster it up if I start going a coughing spree. Doesn't matter. Because you know what's really important? The rest of your life. All right. It's fine. You know what's fine? Evangeline Securities. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. How do I feel about Mississippi State, Jimmy Rosen? I have some fond feelings for the people from Starkville. My mentor in this business, I haven't mentioned him in a while. Love him like a dad. The late Reverend Billy Turner. And most of you probably don't know Billy Turner. But he was my boss at the Times-Picayune for many years. And then decided he didn't want to be a boss anymore. And he became a prep writer extraordinaire because he was a fantastic writer. But anyway, he taught me so much in this business. He left us, 7 or 8 years ago. It's been a little while now. And he was a Mississippi State guy, and we used to talk about it all. I have a fond place in my heart for the Bulldogs. Not only that, I dated a girl for a little while from Starkville. I will say this about, I don't know how many of y'all have been to Starkville. Yeah, you'd be in Stark Vegas. There ain't jack squat to do in Starkville. At least Ole Miss has the Grove, and Oxford is, you can do things in Oxford. But there ain't nothing to do in Stark Vegas. That's why that name is so funny, because you want to talk about the opposite. I don't know if it still is or not. I don't know how. I haven't been there in a while now. But Starkville, the last time I went, it was in a dry county. You had to go out of your way to get alcohol and bring it into Stark. Yeah. I mean, I'll you know me, I'm an open book. I have certainly been intoxicated in Starkville, Mississippi, but I was not nearly as young as I am today. Let's just put it that way. Had a lot of fun in Stark Vegas, but not because there were things to do, because well, that's a whole, we don't need to go there. You know where we need to go? We need to go to Fridays with Gabe Henderson. You ever been to Starkville?
No, I have not.
Don't go there.
I avoid Mississippi at all costs.
Oh, it's not that bad. I mean, you know.
No, when
I
go to
Coast is actually
Mississippi,
pretty cool.
I tend to drive through it, and it's incredibly boring to drive through. When I make the drive,
Talking about higher up, or like going down I-20, or
throughout. I've done Baton Rouge to Memphis. I've gone through Mississippi, going from Texas to New York, and all. It's just incredibly boring. It's the same thing for long stretches.
Jimmy, you might be right. Maybe the way I feel about Ole Miss, maybe that makes me a pseudo Mississippi State fan, because I'm certainly cowbell it up, baby.
Actually,
Father Steve, by the way, says it's only 20 days until Cubs baseball. I'm getting fired up. I'm even enjoying the World Baseball class.
I will say this about Mississippi. When it comes to like rest areas, they've got some nice rest areas. They've got a lot of parks that you just pull off the highway for. Pretty nice.
I really do. I enjoy the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We actually go out to Mississippi multiple times a year with the kids, or the little casino. It's Silver Slipper. Is about 45 minutes from my house. It's actually easier for me to go to Silver Slipper than it is for me to go downtown. Charles Manga says Mississippi is God's country. I don't know about that. Earl, you haven't heard of Starkville or Stark Vegas? You haven't heard of Starkville, Mississippi? I mean, not that there's any, again, wouldn't get fired up about Starkville, Mississippi, but
I love the Stark Vegas nickname.
Stark Vegas. I mean, you want to talk about kind of what's the word that I'm looking for? Ironic's not really the word, but just completely the opposite. What's the word? What's the word? Oxymoronic. That's what I'm looking for. Oxymoronic name, Stark Vegas, because there ain't nothing Vegas-y about Starkville, Mississippi. And now, that is probably the first time in 480 episodes that I've spent 2 to 3 minutes talking about Starkville, and that's about a minute and a half more than
they are
ever
complete
expected.
Antitheses of each other.
No question. What do you got on your mind this morning?
Well, I got a few things. So I know that we completely disagree in the basketball GOAT debate.
Oh, God.
However, no. Hear me out before you roll your eyes. However, I think we can agree that LeBron James clearly was not capable of making a Space Jam movie as good as Michael Jordan did.
Oh, there's no question about that.
Call back to the Monstars from a few seconds ago. And then you know how much I love random numbers. So I decided to crunch the numbers from our little discussion with Zach. Monica Seles has 127,000 Instagram followers. Cristiano Ronaldo has 672 million.
Monica Seles is probably my age. I'm going to look this up.
So I was a little
oh, she's younger
generous
than me.
to Monica
She's 52.
Seles. I said Ronaldo had 1,000 times more. Turns out he has 5,291 times more followers.
On what? On Instagram?
There's no point. These are absolutely meaningless numbers, but I love absolutely meaningless numbers. So
you're right. That's an absolutely. She's only got 50 posts on Instagram. I mean, of course she did. When is this? The last time? 3 weeks ago, she posted something. Before that, when she's got a post of our old, this is from, what is this? 13 weeks ago. So she posted 3 weeks ago. Before that, she hadn't posted in 10 weeks. I don't think she really cares much about her
I don't think she does either.
Instagram post.
I don't think
She looks completely different these days. I wish I could show this. I don't know how to share. Oh, it's not that important. Anyway, go look up Monica Seles on Instagram if you so choose. She looks completely different these days.
Age will do that to a person.
Charles says he doesn't have an Instagram or X account.
It's probably for the best.
I have them for both, but only because I have to.
Yeah.
Jimmy Roden said, "Wait a minute, there is
Hey.
some good in Mississippi."
I gave Mississippi some props.
Lance, don't be messing with Mississippi. Come on now. So anyway, all right.
I think he was laughing at the Instagram followers of the Space Jam shout.
What else you got? We got an interesting week coming up because I think there's going to be a lot of interesting news next week. Next week's going to be free agent heaven. If you like,
I'm excited for Monday's show.
Monday could be a lot of breaking news, and this Jimmy says coming from a true New Orleanian. Next week is going to be very interesting on the show as we talk. Look, the Saints probably will make a big splash at some point early in the week. They're clearing up this money, obviously not just for the whole free agency period, but they're clearing up money as much as they can now because they want to make that splash. They may have somebody in mind by the time we come on Monday, because even though you can't officially sign a free agent until Wednesday, I think you could announce it on Monday, can't you?
Yeah.
Right?
Legal tampering period begins on Monday.
Yeah. So we'll start hearing a lot of things coming out Monday. Could come out while we're doing the show. As of right now, okay, Lance. Dude. Come on, man.
I don't know who will sign Linderbaum. I'll be intrigued to see. Maybe he goes to Cleveland.
Oh, that's interesting. Let's say let's type it. Let's go into the Google machine. Leading contenders. As I do, people love when I do this on live TV. I say that all the time. For Tyler Linderbaum.
I'm just trying to think of teams that are Cleveland's kind of rebuilding their entire offensive line.
According to the Google machine, the 5 leading candidates are this, and I don't think they're in any particular order.
Mm-hmm.
The Baltimore Ravens. He could go back to the Ravens. He is reportedly rejecting an initial market-setting offer, although the Ravens remain a strong possibility to retain him. This is Google AI reporting this. Next, again, this is in no particular order. The Las Vegas Raiders, considered a major threat. I don't know if that's the right word. Considered a major threat to sign Linderbaum. The Raiders have a significant salary cap space of over $85 million and are looking to build a strong offensive line to protect Mr. Mendoza.
That would be a threat to Tyler Linderbaum.
Absolutely. The New York Giants, New York Football Giants, speaking of protecting their quarterback, they are expected to be, quote, aggressive in pursuing Linderbaum, driven by the connection to new head coach John Harbaugh, who, of course, was
put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Los Angeles Chargers, speaking of Harbaugh's, with former Ravens front office executive Joe Ortiz leading their front office in significant cap space, the Chargers in a logical landing spot. And you want to talk about a bad offensive line. The Chargers are absolutely oh, come on. I don't care about their injuries.
No, okay, no, here's the caveat with that. They lost both of their tackles.
Yeah, I don't care.
That's why they were so bad.
It was bad in the beginning, though.
Well, it was bad in the beginning because the right tackle tore his ACL.
Let me make my prediction. That's my prediction. That's where he goes.
Okay.
Stop it, Lance. It's not going to the Saints. And fifth, last, and absolutely certainly least, the Cleveland Browns, as Gabe said. They're expected to make a hard run at Linderbaum to bolster their offensive line and support their young quarterback situation. Good luck with that. Jimmy's looking forward to next week. I am too. I'm telling you, next week's gonna be a lot of fun. We don't have.
I love NFL free agents.
You're always trying to find stuff to talk about in the offseason. You don't have to find stuff to talk about in free agency week. It'll take care of itself. All right, and again, we're gonna start our new segment is coming next week. I'm gonna try to do it Monday. I don't know if it's gonna be here Monday or not, but our new segment, and I announced this Wednesday. It starts on Monday. It is that random date in history. That random date in history. Where I go back in time and I go into the randomizer and whatever date, so March 9th is Monday, I will go back into the Wayback Machine. First, I will go into randomizer. Give me a random year from 1950 to 2025. Pick out a year at random, and I will go get the front page of the Times-Picayune from that date and see what was on the front page of the sports section from that date. And we will also, you and I will have a little... You can't look, so you can't go studying for this. And all of you data regulars who want to play along, no studying, but I may ask you some questions from things that happen on this date nationally on whatever date that may be. We'll have
You
fun
know,
with it.
I'm big in history and trivia, so I'm
Exactly.
definitely for that.
was a
I just
history
looked it up
minor.
while you were rambling. Do you know some notable things that happened on this day in history?
March the 6th. No, I do not. As a matter of fact, let's see if anything Saints happened.
So three
Go
things
ahead.
stand out. 1475, the birth of Michelangelo.
Oh, I'm like 1475. We're going. What? That was before the Saints.
Yeah. 1836, the end of the Battle of the Alamo.
Okay.
And more recently, 1981, Walter Cronkite signed off for the last time.
Wow. Sad day for me. I was a big Walter. I'm a geek when it comes to that kind of stuff. I really, really am.
I knew you would like that.
I was a huge Walter Cronkite fan, actually. And I'm such a sicko when it comes to that kind of stuff that I actually, all right, this is going to get some laughs out there, but I will go on YouTube and find Walter Cronkite random CBS News episodes from whatever and just watch them. And I actually not long ago watched his coverage of the JFK assassination. It's very moving, actually. This date on March 9th in 2000, the New Orleans Saints moved their training camp. They named their training camp at Thibodaux, Louisiana, Nickel State. That didn't work out so well in 2000.
Okay. Speaking of Thibodaux, this is something that you should do when you have guests on who aren't necessarily familiar with the Louisiana area. You should quiz them on how to say certain Louisiana cities, roads.
You mean, see if they'll say Thibodaux?
Yeah. I think LSU does a video like that every year for Mardi Gras. They take students who aren't from Louisiana or from the South, and they just have them pronounce certain things. They a lot of fun.
Yeah. Charles says they don't broadcast. Ain't that the truth? There ain't anything close to Walter Cronkite today. Not even kind of close to Walter Cronkite. Not in today's world.
I bet Stephen A. Smith could give him a run for his money if he tried to do
this. Now you're just being a jackass. I mean, honestly, to me, when Tom Brokaw signed off, that was kind of the end of it. I mean, he was the last. I guess you could find out. I do like Anderson.
Okay, I guess. This might be a hot take. I feel like the best news broadcasters now are local as opposed to national.
I don't disagree with that, actually. I definitely spend.
I feel like all the national ones,
yeah,
they just take former athletes, people who are famous for the most part, and throw
here
them
in New
on
Orleans. I mean, John Snell is one of the best there is. He's one of the best in the business. So
yeah, I feel like the local news broadcasters are better nowadays than national.
Maybe so. All right. Well, we will see you on Monday when things get crazy. I think I'm leaning towards a mono-y Monday. We can certainly do a show by ourselves with.
For sure.
I mean, I think there's going to be news popping starting before we even come on the air. I definitely think there'll be breaking news when we come on. So I will see you Monday, and I have no idea who our guest is going to be next Wednesday.
We won't have the random hodgepodge of topics that we just discussed for the last 13 minutes.
Nope, and we are going to have fun.
NFL.
We are really going to have fun. I'm telling you right now. And Charles Robinette, you're right, Charles. Dat random date in history.
I'm excited for that.
It'll be fun. All right. I'll see you Monday.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. That's pretty much going to wrap. Look, I made it. I'm so glad. I can't tell you how happy I am that I made it through this week. This has been, this has been the absolute week of hell for me. I hadn't been sick in a while. The last time I got sick like this was I got sick Christmas of 2024, and it lasted until just after New Year's, and I couldn't shake it, and it was probably a little worse than this one, but that's the last time that I've been sick even at all, even a little bit. So it was miserable. But to wake up this morning, I woke up and I went, "Oh my God, thank you." I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not back to normal yet, but I wasn't miserable when I woke up this morning. I could actually get out of bed and go get the kids going and whatever and move. So I can't wait to go do something today. I have no idea what. Thank you, Charles. We appreciate it very much. Jimmy Rosen says he still has a Thibodaux training camp shirt. You're not a hoarder, sir. You don't wear that thing, do you? Because if you don't, that would make you a hoarder. If you don't wear it and you still have it, that kind of makes you a hoarder, and that comes from a hoarder. I mean, it's a well-known fact that newspaper people are hoarders. Gabe, are you a hoarder? No? Well, you came in after, kind of. But old-time newspaper dudes, we keep everything. And my wife absolutely hates it. She can't stand that. I mean, I'm not as bad as I used to be, and Katrina changed me. But, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I am. And there are certain things when I finally do throw them away, it hurts my feelings. About 2 years ago, I had all these to go off on a tangent as we say goodbye this morning. But about 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, she'd been bugging me for years and years, and we've been together for 20 years. She'd been bugging me for years and years and years, and I had probably 5 tubs of VHS tapes that just sat there. I mean, I never used them for anything. I mean, they were just there. They were, and most of them were marked, but not all of them. And I don't know why I kept them. I couldn't part with them. And I finally, when I was cleaning up the garage that one day, whenever, I'm like, they got to go. And so I told myself I could keep 1 tub. I had to cut it from 4 to 1. And I finally did it. But it was hard, man. It was hard. And I threw them away. And I think there were some tears from my eyes when I finally threw those multiple tubs of VHS tapes away. Again, not that I don't even have anything to play them on anymore. I actually have a machine that you can record. You could turn VHS tapes into DVDs. Nobody even watches DVDs anymore. So I probably could find a way to watch a VHS tape if I wanted to. Still hurt my feelings. Gabe says he still has old papers and magazines with his bylines on there, but not that extensive. He finally threw away his old SI magazine collection a few years. You see, I can't do that. I got some stuff, not just my old byline. I definitely have stuff from somewhere in here. I have a book with some of my old bylines. I did lose a book, though, in Katrina. I had left it in the bottom of my drawer. I worked in the St. Bernard. I don't know how many of y'all know this, but when Katrina hit, I worked in the St. Bernard Bureau. And in my desk, I had my clippings book with all my original clippings from way back when. And I lost all that. So, look, Katrina did change. And I lost my baby book in Katrina. I lost a lot of stuff that was meaningful. I do still have some things. I think I still have a copy, though, of my original, the first thing I ever wrote. I think I have a copy of it. It was a high school story back in 1990. Somewhere I have it. I'll have to find it. Breaking news is before we go off the air this morning. I need a sip of a drink after that. That was harder than the rest of your life for some reason. The Packers are releasing defensive end Rashawn Gary. Okay. There's a possibility. He will move up to near the top of that list. Earl's Pick says he collects vintage and antique advertising, especially New Orleans advertising. Oh, that would be fun to look at. Charles, it's funny you say you used to have VHS tapes until your first ex-wife. Dude, come on, man. Your first ex-wife? How many ex-wives do you have, my friend? I have one. I mean, I'm not going to say anything. But the reason why I don't have my baby book, I'm not going to call her out here in the show. Oh, she ain't watching. What do I give a shit? My first ex-wife is the reason why I don't have my baby book. That's a whole long story. Last comment of the day before we say bye-bye. Saint for life. Cam and DeMario can leave. Unfortunately, it's the nature of the business. These guys want contracts that don't line up with this team now. It's a young man's game. It is a young man's game. And I agree with you, Saints for life. This team is getting younger and they're shedding contracts. And so while I thought Cam Jordan was coming back, if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world if he doesn't. Okay? Because look, let's get real. Cam only played half the snaps for a reason. Okay? Do we think he's going to be as good next year as he was this year? Maybe. And somebody like that, in my opinion, is somebody that's earned the right to leave when he wanted to, kind of like Drew Brees. But I mean, I guess the Saints, to that extent, the Saints said, this is what we're going to pay you. Do you want it? And he said, no, I think I can get more somewhere else. And then you say, okay. You can't just give him whatever he wants. Jerry, you're right. Thanks for reminding us. Daylight savings time is this weekend. Spring, you lose an hour of sleep, unless you're like me. Charles, who hates daylight savings time? Come on, man. I hate, Gabe hates it. I hate whatever, this is the standard time. Is that what they call this? Standard time? I hate this time. I hate when it gets dark. If it were up to me, not only would we spring forward an hour, we would spring forward like at least 2 hours. I would much rather it be light at 8 or 9 o'clock at night and be dark at 7 in the morning. Even though I'm up a lot at 7 in the morning, my kids go to school before 7 in the morning. I would much rather it be light at 8 or 9 or even 10 o'clock in the evening than be light in the morning. Gabe says I would hate England. You're right, I would. For more reasons than the fact that it gets dark at 2 in the afternoon. You can take your tea and crumpets and fish and chips and whatever else crap food they serve there. Charles loves when it gets dark. Come on, man. Lance says Cam is as good as a third or fourth rusher, which is what he was last year, 8 to 10 million with 2 more incentives. I just don't think he's coming back. I thought he was coming. I mean, I've been wrong this entire offseason so far, just on little stuff, but maybe I'm wrong on everything. I think there are going to be lots of surprises, not just with the draft. I think there are going to be tons of surprises with free agency. Again, like I said with Zach, there are going to be names that no one was even thinking about spouting off that the Saints sign. Like, wow, okay. And then guys you expect them to sign that they don't. And then the draft, who the hell knows? Dude, we still got 6. Go back. I need to pull up a mock draft from March the 6th last year this time. And there are names that are probably, I mean, think about it. Shedeur Sanders was probably on most mock drafts. When you say, Gabe, that he was in the top 5 of most mock drafts, or top 10 at least, of almost every single mock draft, Shedeur Sanders. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it just, you can't. Who knows? Earl says he hates spring. Back with his schedule, he goes to work. It's dark when he gets off, and he hates. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a morning person, even though I do get up in the morning a lot more now than I used to, because I'm old. Old people just get up earlier and they go to bed earlier too. That's really true. I never thought it would be true for me, but it is true. But I can't stand when it gets 5 o'clock. That's absurd. I don't know. And whatever. I would say, some people say just pick one. I would only say pick one if they're going to pick the one we're going to. If I have the choice of picking one and it's the one we're in right now, or leaving it at 2 and going back doing the switch, then I would rather do the switch. Lance says, you know who will get in free agency with some eyeballs? You're not talking about, speaking of free agency, is your guy going to, starting to look like I said I wasn't going to talk about him today because you became a member, Lance. But is your guy, I don't think he's really going to come back. I'm starting to look like your guy's not coming back. Your guy used to quarterback for this team, wore number 4. Not going to mention any names. I don't know. Also, Lance, remember to email me and give me your email address so we can get you in the Slack channel. jim@jimderry.com. And like Lance did earlier today, if you would consider supporting this channel monetarily and supporting an independent journalist, I would appreciate it. I mean, just think about it. At least subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. But if you would like to become a member, we would love to have you. Give you access to our Slack channel. I didn't do it. I didn't say it. You know who I'm talking about. That is going to wrap it up for us on this Friday. Again, at least subscribe to the channel. That's all we ask you to do for now. And if you like what you see, then you can become a member like the Dat regulars. You can also find us wherever you get your podcast, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. It's not going to be, I'm warning you, we're springing forward, but the weather, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly on Saturday. So go out and do something this evening, because I don't think it's going to be very good tomorrow. I think tomorrow and Sunday are both bad. But whatever you do, we hope you have a fantastic, glorious, and wonderful weekend. We will see you on what's most likely going to be a Mono-y Monday. And until then, we say, take it easy, my friends.